Is it okay for kids to use ChatGPT to do their homework?
Actually, with supervision and used in the right way, then yes, because ChatGPT.
Oh no! Why? The first thing that every single university professor learns nowadays is how to spot when your kids that you're teaching are using AI. And here we just have our Labour government going, yeah, just let the kids use fucking ChatGPT to do their homework.
Yeah, just cheat. Fuck it. Who cares? In the future, it'll all just be you servicing the robots that are fighting wars on Mars anyway. So who cares?
But how can the donors to the Tony Blair Institute profit if kids aren't cheating on their homework using ChatGPT? Where is the profit, though, Kev? Where's the profit to be made in children learning holistically and getting rewarded for being right without any help or by learning it themselves rather than getting an AI bot to do it? How does Tony Blair profit from a proper holistic education system?
Look, what is the quote-unquote personal growth of an individual child compared to the growth of the economy, yeah? Yeah? True. There's only one red line going up that matters. That's it. If we have to sacrifice your children's brains to make the line go up, we will do it.
Absolutely.
GPT and the AI technology that's using language is already being used across the economy. So as long as
supervision, because I'm sure there are parents and teachers watching and kids watching who think,
yeah, because children's education is just like the economy.
Hand it in.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
But Laura, I'm of an age when I remember this conversation about calculators. You know, so we need to make sure that
I'm sorry. Oh my God,
Kev.
Like this, are fucking elected. Our cabinet minister, our minister for science, technology, and innovation, is out here going, well, actually, using ChatGPT to do your homework is just the same as using a calculator to do your homework. And I'm just like, understanding the result of the functional operation is not the same as knowing which operation to use in the first place. Getting ChatGPT to do your homework for you is essentially getting rid of the entire point of having engaging questions as part of a learning process. All the learning is being done by a fucking AI. This man's a fucking idiot. Calculators are used in maths exams because it's not reasonable to expect children to have memorized the natural logarithms of certain numbers, especially not non-integer numbers, right? Very reasonable to say we will have all of the results of all of the potential natural logarithm calculations you might do inside an electronic box that you can refer to during your exam. That is not the same as going, please ChatGPT, write me an essay on the themes of Three Sisters by Chekhov. Those are not the same thing. You still have to know in a maths exam whether you're using the correct natural logarithm, whether you have done the correct calculations, whether you applied the correct formula. Applying the formula is what the fucking ChatGPT is doing in your essay. Like, if you wanted to make a comparison that's actually a comparison to a calculator, like a text-to-speech model, if you're somebody who fucking hates writing, for example, be very reasonable to say, I know, I'm going to do a text-to-speech. I'm going to do all of the thinking about the essay myself, but somebody else can write it. And that's not a problem, because that's not changing your ability to interpret the question about the themes of Three Sisters.
Are learning how to use this technology and integrate it into their learning development, because there are kids with real talent.
Imagine any government minister coming on and say, yes, you know what's really great? Children cheating at questions in their exams.
Why bother turning up to school at all? Just get Grok to do it for them.
I mean, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
In outlier talents, and using ChatGPT and other AI assistants could really turbocharge and give them a challenge they're not getting in other places. And in the same classroom, you could have kids with neurological barriers to learning that could have their innate barriers.
I mean, it's almost like he hasn't got a fucking clue what he's talking about. Again, as the Minister for Science and Technology, and that he's just spaffing out a bunch of buzzwords that sound sciencey to make people at home think he knows what he's talking about. And really, all he's saying, the entire gist of what he's saying here is allow the kids to cheat.
Overcome and assisted with in the same classroom. So we need to help people use this, but it should never be a replacement for the expertise of teaching. That's the key thing we need to get right.
It's interesting, you're really emphasizing the safety that you want to make sure is there this morning. But actually, your department has said officially, the press release you put out overnight said there's been an overbearing focus on safety. And you accused the previous government of missing opportunities because they were worrying too much about safety. Can you give us a specific example of what the previous government worried too much about and the opportunity that was lost?
Well, safety is the first step. It is the crucial step. It is the unignorable step, but it's not the only step. And with the previous government, it was the only step. The purpose of safety is that people are protected.
But what specifically?
Oh, for fuck's sake. He has just said 30 words. He could have, all of which were superfluous. Safety is the first thing we need to do, but it's not the only thing that we need to do. And safety means to protect people.
Have you watched the bit in Family Guy where it's a mayoral contest between Lois Griffin and Adam West?
I have.
And
yeah.
somebody in the audience asked a question, and Adam West just goes over and sits on the lap and starts stroking their hair and saying, I think it's fantastic that you can ask questions. And I, as a true American, love that we can live in an open society where you can ask a question, because if there was no question, we just have an answer, and that would be meaningless. This is essentially the same kind of problem you're getting from Peter Kyle. But the only thing he really said here is that, well, the government previously was only focused on safety. Well, are you saying that your care for safety is going to be less than a conservative government over an incredibly parasitic new technology that is making loads of money for capitalists? What fucking government have we elected?
I can't help but feel that what he is saying was written by ChatGPT. Are we sure that Peter Kyle isn't actually AI? Because I haven't seen any evidence of him being human.
Well, that's true. I think that probably is right, in that you've got a robot in the form of Peter Kyle, you've got the alien in the form of Laura Koonsberg, and you have a lizard in the form of Mel Stride.
Can you give us an example? Because you're accusing the former government of being overbearing on safety. I'm not sure that many of Rishi Sunak's colleagues would agree about that. He sat on a platform with Elon Musk and talked about the virtues of AI.
True, but he did have to get a ladder up to that platform.
Hey!
Love it. Bringing back some vintage memes. Let's go.
It's true. It's true, but it just shows you the point that she's making. I think is pretty salient in that it does seem that both governments, both Tory and Labour, are on a race to the bottom to show you that they believe in the one acceptable ideology, which is that business must have primacy above all else, completely ignore the social ills, completely ignore the negative externalities. We will worship at the feet of Elon Musk and the open AI oligarchs, because they are the ones who are going to bring growth by getting rid of jobs with AI.
What they missed out on was the investment potential that can come from reconfiguring our infrastructure. Part of our plan for change is to get the infrastructure in house building, in energy, and yes, in digital infrastructure.
Oh, God, they're going to do AI houses or some shit, aren't they? People are going to have to live in fucking ChatGPT flats. Flat GPT.
Flat GPT.
We will now sit alongside the importance of water and electricity to the future of our country, our health and
well-being. I was going to ask you about that, because a lot of people in this debate actually say, you know what, this is a big climate change issue too, because huge data centres are required. They need lots of energy. They need lots of water. How are you going to mitigate that?
Well, as part of our plan for change, we were announcing the AI Opportunities Action Plan. This is about, now we've got safety right, we can then focus on opportunities. So a whole range of measures, which will include announcements tomorrow by the Prime Minister on how we bring the strategic challenge of AI will pose into the strategic planning of energy going into the future. Once we've done that, we can get the infrastructure right. We will attract billions of pounds worth of investment. Billions.
No, what are you talking about? Again, it's just pablum, then finished off with, and that will bring billions in. Could you outline in any fucking way how that's going to bring in a penny? We've got safety rights, so we're going to work on opportunities, whatever the fuck that means, and we're going to get the infrastructure right, whatever that means, equals billions.
And on top of that, again, they still not said how they're going to mitigate all of the climate risks because of the gigantic amounts of energy and water that they use.
They're not going to. The fundamental point is they are not going to. And they're not going to try to, because they don't fucking care.
Original Demo says, am I being stupid here, or is their only policy AI? Yes, their only policy is AI. AI in the job centres, AI for the disabled, AI in schools, AI in the NHS, AI in AI. We'll have machine learning creating the scripts for other machine learning tools.
That investment is into these data centers, which are factories for AI. This will create thousands and thousands of jobs, which are engineering jobs. They are building and construction jobs. They are also data jobs and programming jobs. So right across the board.
And when it comes to the economy...
What building jobs? I'm sorry, please explain to me in what possible way there are going to be building jobs from AI.
I mean, they've got to build the data center. That's it.
Yeah, but that's one building.
Yeah.
And also, there
is a job.
There are empty buildings that you can use now. We have empty buildings. So you probably wouldn't have to build. At the very most, you might need to renovate.
In recent days, the cost of borrowing for the government hitting 16-year highs, the pound on the slide. I mean, it's all gone a bit wrong, isn't it?
Well, the last investment...
It's all gone, Pete.
£1 billion of investment being pledged into AI-related industries in this country.
But the markets this week have given a verdict on the UK government's decisions, and they're not very impressed.
Well, if you put the market movement when it comes to gilts, for example, alongside other international countries, in particular America, you see very similar trends. But the way we're going to get out of this, because I don't accept the premise that we have to be stuck in the cul-de-sac that the Tories drove us into for the last 14 years, where it's high tax, low growth, and there's no alternative.
I'll defend him on this one. I'll defend him. Clearly, the answer has always been to use AI, because that's what Rachel Reeves is.
What, her intelligence is artificial?
Well, no, she's a robot.
Yeah, no, she is definitely a robot. Although, to be fair, that hasn't worked out well. Not that the previous human chancellors were doing a great job either, to be honest. Have we tried a different species?
To be fair, what we have the AI algorithm being asked if we should raise VAT and kill all the poor. And Rachel said, well, maybe not raise VAT, but I will absolutely hammer the mulch the disabled button.
True.
But the financial markets have made specific judgments about the UK and specific judgments about the decisions you've made as a government in the last 6 months. It's not all about the inheritance that you got. It's about the decisions that Rachel Reeves has made, and they don't look impressed.
We've already seen regulatory changes. Because
it's mostly America. Gilt's mostly rising because treasuries are rising, or the yields on treasuries are rising. And this is a response to Trump's rhetoric and nothing to do with economic policy from the government. Like the gilt yields started really rising this week, and it's been 2 months since the budget. Like, if the budget was to blame, this would have happened after the budget. Let's
stick with tech, because you know well how concerned lots of people watching are about social media, and particularly how it affects young people. Now, viewers will remember there are new laws to try to combat the worst excesses, the Online Safety Act. But some families who've been caught up in tragic cases just do not think this has gone far enough. They think there needs to be additional protection. And yesterday we spoke to Ian Russell, who everyone will remember his daughter Molly took her own life after seeing distressing content online. I want you to listen to Ian's comments, what he told us yesterday, and his direct appeal to the Prime Minister.
There's been a complete U-turn. And one announcement this week, the announcement that Mark Zuckerberg made in particular, just leads me to believe that Meta is turning its platforms back towards the platforms that Molly saw in the last months of her life. I'm sure Keir, as a father, protects his children from online dangers as much as any individual can. But as a Prime Minister, he needs to really back online safety and move forward so that the UK...
Okay, but Elon Musk doesn't want that. So you don't get it.
He's cut to the Zuck.
Yeah, exactly. Zuckerberg wants the thing and he's rich, and that's all that Keir Starmer cares about.
Isn't it funny how Joe Rogan got like multiple tech CEOs on the Joe Rogan podcast, and all of them mention the Consumer and Financial Protection Bureau on the Joe Rogan podcast? And I was just like, surely that's a coincidence.
Well, no, clearly they have the best interest of the American people at heart, and therefore we need to get rid of that body, because it's clearly hurting the American people.
Yeah, they got super wealthy by being really, really generous, and not indeed by taking money away from people.
is the safest place in the world to be online. And children, when they're there in the future, don't face the dangers they're facing today.
Now, in the new rules that have been put forward, there are no specific measures around self-harm content. There are no specific measures around live streaming. It's unclear about chatbots, which are becoming a huge thing.
God, did she have to bring up live streaming? That's disgusting. Fucking hell.
I mean, Peter Kyle clearly wants to regulate the No Justice and Kevin Logan streams because we're fucking destroying him.
There's nothing around private messaging. So do you really think that the new rules match the scale of the problem? Because people like Ian Russell, who spent years campaigning for this, think they fall far short.
Firstly, let me say I met Ian in opposition. I've met Ian and the victim community.
And now I'm elected, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I now have business leaders to now have business leaders to pander to. Regular members of the public, GRS members of the public who can't indeed buy my wife a new dress or let my kid do his exam studying in my penthouse. Unfortunately, they don't offer me as much as the business owners.
Community in the first fortnight of being appointed Secretary of State, and I've met them since to engage with them. I want to bring their voice and give and respond to the challenges that they put to us, because their experiences must be heard. But sitting alongside that is a very personal commitment to making sure that everybody, particularly people with vulnerabilities, and every child is vulnerable.
So he's telling you the rules don't protect
have
people
protection.
enough.
So we've already acted. There are more powers coming online. It is already, and by March it will be enforceable, that any illegal content must be removed. Later next year,
Hang on a minute.
content creators
Also on top of that,
must make
like, if it's illegal content, then it must be removed. I'm like, as opposed to what that's the whole point of it being illegal. If it's illegal content, then the whole point of it is it shouldn't be on there. Like,
yes.
Well, if it's not being removed and it's illegal, then what's the fucking point of it being illegal in the first place? What a stupid thing to say.
Sure that the content they're creating and publishing is appropriate for the age of the person who is viewing it. If not, there will be very, very strict enforcement rules. Now, in the period since I came in, I've issued a statement of strategic intent, which I promised the victims I would do, and the previous administration didn't. That has insisted to Ofcom that they spend more time and more focus and use their powers more assertively when it comes.
So you've asked Ofcom nicely to do a thing. That means nothing. You have to actually legally bind them to do a thing. Otherwise, why would they bother?
The Online Safety Act is just fucking over smaller online platforms and communities like forums. Meanwhile, big tech is the only sector that has the finances to put in place the regulations. Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because, of course, the big tech are the people who they can't afford to piss off. But small forums and stuff don't have the ability to fight back against the state.
Yep. Have the small forums thought about buying Keir Starmer a box at Arsenal, though?
True. Or potentially buying Peter Kyle complimentary tickets to Glastonbury.
Because he knows them inside out, and he wants this act to work. Campaigners like him have identified clear loopholes in the rules. They don't think it goes far enough. So are you open to tightening them up?
So I'm constantly reviewing them. I have to allow the new measures, because I came into office at a point where the legislation had passed but hadn't been implemented. I want to focus on getting all of the powers I can have implemented, and that will happen in the course of this year. I am very open-minded, and I've said publicly that we will have to legislate.
Yes. Open-minded that your brain has fallen out.
Hey!
Into the future again. I think we have to get, I'll be honest about this. We can't just wait every decade or so and do a big bang of online harm legislation and also other bits of technological legislation. We need to get Parliament more into the cycle of updating the law and making sure, because things like deep fakes, for example.
You're a massive government with a giant majority. You don't need anybody to do anything. Parliament is completely irrelevant. You would like to legislate. You have the majority. If you want to update it, that's on you.
Example, come down the line, and in 3 months they are developed, designed, deployed, and they're impacting society in ways we need to adjust to.
She worked on the bill. She said it's already out of date, but isn't also the point that Ian makes this morning is that the game has changed here. The whole way the rules were designed in the UK was based on the platforms playing ball. It was based on them increasing the level of safety. And this week we've heard Mark Zuckerberg get rid of fact-checking in the US. We all know what Elon Musk has been up to on his own platform, posting things that are inflammatory and misleading about your government ministers.
Rape genocide.
Oh, it's just his opinion, though, Kev. It's just free speech, the free speech of Elon Musk to say things that are incredibly fucking stupid.
They've changed the game, haven't they?
Let me be really clear about this. There is one thing that has not changed, and that is the law of this land and the determination of this government.
Yeah, and she's specifically asking whether you should fucking change the law of the land, you dopey.
Or if the law in place currently has got the power for you to come down hard on people who you say are damaging the public realm through their rhetoric on social media, to take fucking action. Either change the law or invoke the law. Stop fucking pissing around.
To keep everybody safe and have a safe experience, to have safety built in at the outset so that people can safely explore the potential of online activity.
But do you think that the platforms are changing the game? I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, who is the man who controls the platforms that provide lots of people in this country, billions of people around the world, with the information that they see every day. What did you think when you heard him say we're ditching fact-checking?
Well, that was an American statement for the American service users. That was not a global thing.
Global. I mean, he said we'll catch less bad stuff. Yeah. What did you think?
Forgive me, Laura, I'm not trying to justify anything here, but I did listen to the entire statement. He mentioned the need to do more to keep children safe online. He was trying to balance the challenge of free speech. Access to the British society and economy is a privilege. It is not a right. If you come and operate in this country, you abide to the law. The law says...
Okay, we'll make some fucking evil bastards pay tax then. Why are we negotiating with Amazon for them to pay like 3% tax?
Do you know that there was a specific part of government that was actually brought in 2016 by the Cameron administration, of all people, in the specifically, and their specific job was to try and go after business people who are engaging in tax avoidance, and made it a legal duty for people within those businesses to call out others who are engaging in tax avoidance, and were essentially there to given money to go and find people. Do you know how many of these business people and corporations they have actually gone after for tax avoidance in the last 9 years since this was set up in the tax office, Kev? 0.
Oh,
fuck all. Literally none. Literally none.
The law says on messaging that all developing technology must be used in order to avoid even end-to-end encrypted being used to supply and deploy illegal content.
But the fact here, Peter Kyle, as you know, is much of the concern here is not about content that might be against the law. It's about content that might be harmful to people seeing it, even if it's not illegal. I think people would like to know what went through your mind when you heard Mark Zuckerberg say, we'll catch less bad stuff.
Okay, look. The frustration I have is that the bill was conceived with a whole set of principles, including taking down illegal, but also tackling the area where the volume of interaction could have a negative impact, legal but harmful. Kemi Badenoch, when she was running for leader, at that exact point the bill was passing through Parliament, said this is legislating for hurt feelings. That entire bit of the bill was taken out. So I've inherited a landscape where we have a very uneven, unsatisfactory legislative settlement, but there are some very good powers coming through. There are very good powers
That's
on
not
statute.
What you're fucking asked.
I've already used the powers to tackle intimate image abuse. I've already used the powers to tackle deepfakes, another piece of legislation going through in the coming months. I'm using the powers assertively to tackle the emerging threats and safety concerns. Our overall landscape makes
absolutely meaningless guff. Fucking worthless. Every word of it, total bollocks.
And it's funny, honestly, we kind of have a go at politicians for being nothing but pablum. But the fact that this guy's entire brief just seems to be just fucking saying words that mean nothing. He is the most useless minister. At least you can understand David Lammy is out there doing Israeli propaganda. At least you know that Rachel Reeves is just repeating Treasury brain. At least you know that Keir Starmer is having his strings pulled like a marionette by McSweeney and McFadden. And you know that Pat McFadden is just like an old cassette recorder that's low on battery, speaking very slowly in the most soporific tone possible about why nothing can get better ever. But with this guy, it's just all fucking nonsense. It's just pablum. It's just empty fucking like political jargon speak that is completely impenetrable. Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment that helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for memberships. It's just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.